Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Escape the Matrix. It has been 3 years since I got in this house. I had a lot of work. We did change that section of the roof right here. Only this front section. The rest of the roof also needs to be changed, but I have not gotten to that yet. So I'll just kind of break down what is going on with the house. So right now we have the first floor rented, and we recently just did a whole bunch of renovations to the house. As you can see, there is a whole bunch of garbage that I need to take out. So the first floor is rented for 2,600, and that includes all the utilities. I'll break down all the numbers with you guys after I'm done showing you guys the house. You can see the backyard's still a bit of a mess. But also this garage I did mention would be rented for storage, and it actually is. Let me see if I have the key and I can show you guys the inside. Oh, I think they left it open. Oh, hey, what's going on, my friend?
How are you?
How are you? I was wondering. I saw the door open. I thought somebody left it open. I'm like, let me lock it.
Oh, no, that's good. That's good.
Everything okay, right?
Yeah.
No problem. But yeah, my garage tenant is actually in there right now, getting some stuff. But yeah, it is rented for $350. So we have 2,600 on the first floor, and then we have $350 from the garage. So that is $2,950 so far. As you can see, I got my EV charger right here. And so yeah, the math comes out to $2,950 so far. And then here, let me see if I can get my keys. So yeah, this is the second unit here. This should get rented today. I have some people coming later to sign the lease, but this is going to get rented with all utilities included for $2,500. Technically, after all said and done, after all the expenses of the house are taken care of, that's including mortgage, that's including everything, I technically get to live for free. And that in itself, if you're living in a one-bedroom unit in New York City, it is about $1,500 at the minimum. So I'm saving $1,400 to $1,500 just by living for free. But let me get in the car and I'll break down all the numbers. All right, guys, so I'm gonna break down exactly what the expenses are and what the rental income is. First things first, right? The income for the property, the first floor, you get 2,600, and that's with all utilities included. The tenants don't have to worry about any of that. And then the second floor is 2,500 with all utilities also included. Tenants don't have to worry about that. For the garage, it is $350 for a total of $5,450. So that's how much the property generates, and that's not including the accessory unit, which I live in for free. You're gonna see exactly how I live in it for free once I break down the expenses for you guys. The first expense, and of course the biggest one of all, is your mortgage. Your mortgage is also considered your PITI payment. PITI payment includes your principal, your interest, your taxes, and your insurance, and that makes up what is known as your mortgage payment. But besides the mortgage, which is $4,200, now we also have the heating. So heating on average, obviously in the summertime, the heating expenses are very low. You just have to pay the minimum, whatever it is. They have a minimum. Even if you're not using any heat, there's always a minimum. So you'll always have something for heating. The heating for the whole building, which is $400, while cooking gas for the first floor is included in the heating price. So obviously the winter months will be more and the summer months will be less. So give or take, that comes out to $400 a month for the heating bill. For the first floor's electric price, that comes out to an average about $120. And then for the second floor, it's about $150 for the electric and the cooking gas. Another expense that we have is the water bill. The water bill on average is about $200 $200, give or take. It's usually a little bit less, but whenever I do these type of estimates, I always like to be conservative and put more than what needs to be there. So just so I have a little bit of wiggle room, just in case that the bill is higher than I expected, I always am conservative with my numbers, and I always estimate a bit higher than what it actually is. We have the water bill, which is about $200. And then after all of that is said and done, I also set aside $200 a month for maintenance. One thing I'll tell you about owning a house and house hacking, or however you're doing it in investment property, there is always going to be something that comes up, especially in the winter time. You might have your boiler mess up, you might have this mess up, you might have that mess up. And if you don't have money set aside for that, then you won't be prepared for it. So now if we add up all of those expenses, the expenses end up coming out to $5,270, and the income comes out to $5,450. That leaves $180 of cash flow. That's not including the unit that I'm living for free in. So if you include that unit, eventually whenever I do move out of that unit, it is a 1-bedroom unit. For a 1-bedroom unit here in New York City, the minimum is about $1,400. So if we actually factor that $1,400 of living for free in with the $180 of cash flow, it comes out to about $1,580 of cash flow. But of course, I'm not going to count the income from that unit because it is not rented, but in exchange, I'm living there for free. But either way, $180 of cash flow, your tenants are paying down your mortgage. It's not coming out of your pocket. But that's not to say that things can't go wrong. A couple of things that went wrong for me is I had my chimney clogged. I had my boiler mess up multiple times. I've had a section of the roof leak, so I had to get that replaced. I can't even count exactly how much I've spent. So I'll tell you some of the expenses that I incurred in 2022 for the house. I had a boiler repair that cost me $400. Sewer line cleanup that cost me $300. I had to change some electric breakers, which cost me $360. I had to change that section of the roof, which cost me $1,700. I had to replace the garage door when I brought in the tenants, because that last garage door I had, if you see my original video when I originally got the house, you'll see the condition of that garage door was not good. That cost me about $400. And then I had to pay another $300 in labor for a lot of the boiler issues. So in 2023, I also had more issues with the boiler. I still haven't changed that boiler. It's still running strong. Right after I did the chimney cleaning, that helped the boiler a lot in its performance. So I had to do what's called a chimney lining, because pretty much the fumes from the boiler was not leaving properly. So that cost me about $2,300. And then as far as repairs, I had my first floor tenants move out, and then I had to renovate the unit a little bit, and that cost me about $5,000 to renovate. And then I also had bad tenants in my second floor, which they didn't pay rent for like 2 months, and then they left tons of damage. Missing 2 months worth of rent, that was about $4,600. And then also repairing that whole unit cost me about $9,000. I do have a video of all the repairs that I made in that unit, so make sure you check that out. Just so you guys know, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. There can be things going wrong, so it's always good to leave a little bit money on the side for any of those repairs. If I were to go and look at things my house needed, I definitely could do the siding. I definitely could do the roof, but that's another $30,000. So I'm not going to do that as of yet. These are things to keep in mind when you're house hacking, that, you know, a lot of things can go wrong. Me living in the unit for free is saving me so much money. If I were to go and rent my own place, that would cost me about $1,400 to $1,500, maybe even more. That's a huge benefit for me. And then also now with the new tenants coming in, I'm going to be cash flowing about $180, which is not a huge amount, but hey, if you're living for free and cash flowing $180, that's a huge win for me. I hope this video gave you guys some good insight about house hacking, especially if you're house hacking in a very expensive market. You know, these are things to know, and you got to be prepared for the worst. I hope this video gave you some clarity on what house hacking is like. You know, I'm actually doing it. You know, a lot of these people are telling you about house hacking, but they're not showing you house hacking, right? Actually seeing it. I think seeing is believing. So once you're able to see it, you can make a judgment for yourself if this is something for you. If this video helped you guys, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel for a lot more great content coming out. Also, I must say, make sure you hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, Escape the Matrix out.